Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Chatbots, the rise of AI coworkers in education. I'm Becky Keene, and I'm with Phygital Labs, and it's my pleasure to present this content to you today. Or if you're watching the recording, thanks for joining us. Here at Phygital Labs, we absolutely love helping educators around the world understand how to use the tools that they have available to them. And I have been using Claude for a few years now, and I absolutely love it. But you don't have to have a Claude subscription to use Coworkers. So we're going to dig into what that means here as we start learning together. So we're going to talk about what is the difference between a chatbot and a coworker, how to use Cowork in the web, and how to use Cowork inside your apps. I have a couple of different examples that I will share with you, and I'm excited to jump in. Now, those of you who are joining live, of course, we have the meeting chat available. So if you have a question as we go along, or you just have something you want to learn about, you can pop that in. We do have microphones and video off just so we keep a clean recording, but I will keep an eye on the chat here on my other monitor just in case you have some questions or things you're thinking about. So what is a chatbot? I think we're all used to using those, but you might not know the naming convention. A chatbot, according to AI, is a computer program designed to simulate an interactive human conversation through either text or voice. So some of our common chatbots that you might be using on a daily basis are here. These are all chatbots that we support at Phygital Labs as far as going out and doing training with schools and educators. We have Copilot by Microsoft. We have ChatGPT by OpenAI. We have Gemini by Google Gemini. We have Claude by Anthropic. And we also have Canva AI by Canva. Now, what's exciting about a lot of these is that some of them are completely free for schools. Some of them are free for students as well. So if you're thinking about using one of these tools, I highly recommend logging in with your school or work account so that you have a more data secure environment whenever you can. But if you're using it just on your own, if you're just, popping in and trying this out from a personal perspective, just make sure you read those terms and conditions so that you know how your data is being used. Because some of these platforms, if you're on the free subscription, on a personal account, they are using your data to train its models. That might be okay with you and also might not. That's a personal choice. So just so you're aware, that's what chatbots are. It's those tools that we use to get quick responses, to help us summarize things. They can be incredibly powerful. They generate imagery and videos and so on, but they're not autonomous. They're more of an assistant. They help you get information, or they help you write a formula, or they help you design an outline. They're not doing things on your behalf. That's different. That's a coworker. Not a coworker human, mind you, but a co-work agent that's developed by AI. So this just tells us a little more about what a coworker is and how it's different. And I'll read it aloud for the transcript and for accessibility for translation. It says, instead of just responding to prompts, which is what chatbots do, it can access your systems, follow multi-step workflows or directions. It can take actions like writing emails, updating databases, creating tickets, sending messages, all without constant human input. Now, the word constant here is important because, as you'll see in a moment, these coworkers will pause and ask for your permission to do certain things. You can also grant it permission to do some things without you every time, or tell it to ask you permission every time. You do have that human level of oversight and control. But what's incredibly exciting here is the opportunity to be able to set it and forget it. Remember that slogan from Crock-Pots? That's why people got so excited about Crock-Pots, because we could set something up and walk away and not have to think about it again. That's why I'm a huge fan of the Instant Pot, the pressure cooker, because I can get my dinner going, get my rice started, whatever, walk away without it worrying about it boiling over. Just a little personal aside there. To me, it's a kitchen coworker. And that is why I have found great joy in using these AI tools and systems as co-workers. They're actually helping me learn a lot too. So here's a great graphic that I found that I thought was really helpful to kind of give us, again, that differentiator. And maybe it's super clear to you, but I know that when I'm out talking with educators and doing trainings, I want to use the right vocabulary so that they understand really what we're setting up and what we're asking them to do. So a chatbot is one thing, but agentic AI, those coworker tools, is quite another. Unfortunately, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, calls its prescriptive chatbots agents, even if it's just a chatbot. So that's a little bit adding to the confusion in the Microsoft ecosystem. I wish that was not the case. But ultimately, a chatbot follows defined scripts and rules that you have given it. It operates on a very specific workflow. It requires intervention. If something is complex, it doesn't know what to do, it stops or it fabricates and makes something up. It can provide basic automations. So, for example, we can program a chatbot for customer service or for troubleshooting or to start an order return on Amazon. Those are all examples of chatbots that are set up to help you process information because they've been told exactly what to do and they never deviate from that set of directions. Agentic AI can adapt. It can decide what to do based on the parameters. It can make a plan. If that plan does not work, it can shift and go in a different direction. It can learn and improve based on real interactions. It makes autonomous decisions based on context, meaning it works on its own. It decides how to approach a problem based on its training, its data set, but ultimately it's doing those things without your needing to intervene. And finally, it can enable some advanced automations, optimizing workflows, and ultimately reducing operational costs. You may have seen a recent headline that Peninsula School District, which is near me in the United States, very close to me, in fact, just saved over $500,000 in their budget through vibe coding. And what they mean is their programmers were developing tools and apps that they otherwise had to have outsourced and otherwise would have needed humans to do. So this is an incredible opportunity to repurpose that budget into things that are impacting teaching and learning and require human expertise and intervention. So here are some examples of coworkers currently. Perplexity Computer is one, and if you're not familiar with Perplexity, it is another large language model platform that runs GPTs, it runs Claude, it runs Gemini, it runs actually a variety of tools with its own layer on top. Perplexity is a great tool. I use it occasionally for research. It's very reliable, so that's another option. But Perplexity has Cowork tools that are built into it called Perplexity Computer, and that's a download that you could go get. But today we're going to focus mainly on Claude Code and Claude Cowork because that's what I advertised. Microsoft has its own agentic functionalities built into Office with Copilot Cowork. So Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are great examples. Outlook is also another great example of co-work happening in real time right there within the Office environment. And finally, Canva AI. Canva AI 2.0 launched the ability to co-work. It reasons, it plans, it builds designs, it iterates, it can schedule tasks and build automations in ways that were completely unavailable before. Because Claude is completely free for education, Canva is free for education, and so is Microsoft Copilot. Those are tools that are readily accessible in schools. Both of them, ready for this? Both of them use Claude's models. Okay, so Claude is really the backbone of all of these systems, which is why a lot of people talk about Claude being the co-work model. Copilot has its own editing agentic features, but you'll notice that if you're using Copilot chat, you can actually choose the Claude model from within the chat. So these are things just to keep in mind. And if none of that, if you don't care about any of that, you just want to see the fun at work, then you can just ignore what I just said and move on. But I think it's helpful to know what we're actually talking about. All right, so I have that little graphic coming in here. Hey, all of this runs on Claude, by the way. So that's something that is just, again, really helpful running in the background for us. So how might educators use these Cowork tools right away? You might be thinking, this is way too technical. I'm not a code developer. I'm not an app developer. Neither am I. But here are some things that I have done just in the last week. When we're talking about Cowork, I have learned how to do something on my website, my BeckyKeene.com website and my PhygitalLabs.com website. I manage both of those. I also manage a website personally for my HOA. And so there are lots of different places here that I'm using those web tools. You can also use it to prepare for the week ahead. That's a really simple thing to do. And with Claude connectors or Canva connectors, you can have those tools access your email, your calendar securely and privately, and give you an opportunity to use Cowork really effectively. It also can help you supporting content creation and maybe even help you fix a problem. So we're going to take a look at how Cowork can help in a couple of these different scenarios. The first one is Padlet. Now, I don't know if you have used Padlet before, but this is a screenshot, and I'm going to also demo this live. But just in case that hangs up, I always take a screenshot ahead of time. And let me show you what's happening here in this space, and then I'm going to show it happen in real time. So this is me logged into Padlet, and I'm on the free Padlet plan, by the way. So I only have 3 Padlets available at any one time. And I've launched Claude in my browser, Claude Cowork, and I asked Claude to please create a Padlet for my students to add favorite passages from their reading novels. I last taught middle school language arts, and so this would be really applicable. You'll notice that Claude made a plan on its own, determined what to do to make this happen. It wrote out some steps for itself and then asked me to approve that plan before it moved forward. So let's take a look at what this might look like in real time. I'm going to go ahead and exit my Canva presentation and head on over to Padlet. Okay, so here I am. I'm logged into Padlet, right? And if you go made by me, you just see 2 there. I have room for 1 more. Now, I will tell you a fun little story here when I finish about what happens when I have too many Padlets and what Claude does about that. I have already installed the Claude Cowork extension. Now, that's a critical part of this whole exercise. If you're wanting to use Claude Cowork in your browser, you need to get the extension and then connect it with your login credentials to your Claude account. So I've already done that, and I've pinned it here as an extension in my toolbar. Just a reminder about getting extensions, whether you're in Chrome or Edge browser, head over to the Chrome store and grab it and make sure that you're using the official released by Anthropic Claude Cowork extension. You can also launch it from your Claude app if you're using Claude on your desktop. So I have it here. You can see it. It lets me choose what model. Opus 4.7, that's going to use the most resources and the most of your tokens. You will run out quickly with Claude, even if you're on Pro, even if you're on Max, if you keep running Opus. So I only do that when I really need it. Mostly I leave it in Sonnet, kind of the middle one here. So remember that prompt. I'm going to just go ahead and type that in. Create a, oh, and I have it. I think I have it saved here in my notes. No, I didn't save it. Okay, so I'll have to type it in. Oh, one more thing to notice up here at the top. You'll notice that I have a little Claude group, a tab group in my browser. That means Claude is going to be managing those tabs. So if it needs a new tab, it will open one, and you'll see the little orange bar letting you know that Claude is active in those sections of your browser. So I'm going to say create a new Padlet for my students to add their favorite reading passages. Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm going to tell them. Then Claude is going to go figure out what it means. Notice I've got that little orange ribbon around the website. And Claude is like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to navigate to the dashboard. You can see this in the bottom right. I need to click Make Padlet. I need to select an appropriate format. I need to set title and description, and I need to publish the Padlet. Now, if you've used Padlet before, you're like, yeah, why wouldn't I just do that? Hang on. What if you've never used Padlet before? What if you're an educator who heard about Padlet someone talked about it and you're like, I'd love to try it out, but I don't have time to learn it. Hey, guess what? You don't have to. You don't even have to learn how to set it up. Claude can do that for you. Hey, guess what? Let's say you want to learn how to set up a Padlet because you're like, I would like to be able to do this. You can ask Claude to do it for you. I'm going to approve that plan. And then I'm literally going to watch as Claude does things. And it's talking me through, okay, I'm going to take a screenshot. I need to find how to make a Padlet. So I'm going to take a screenshot of the interface. It just went to make a Padlet. Now it's opening a new board. And every step of the way, you can see that Claude is taking a screenshot, analyzing that information, and then making a decision based on what's there. If it receives an error message, it's going to handle that. It's doing the work for me. It just typed in the title, my favorite reading passages. It's going through the motions here. And again, if I didn't know how to set up a Padlet, this is a great opportunity for me to pay attention and actually learn what to do. Now it tells me it's going into the Padlet settings and layout options. It's going to choose something that it thinks is best based on my parameters, my setting up a reading passage. And now in 20 steps, okay, Claude has done that work on my behalf. You can see all the things it did, how long it took, how long it waited, right? That's all available for review. It says, okay, great. My favorite reading passages is selected. It's a wall format, perfect for students. The Padlet is live. Gives me the URL, which I can fact check. We should always fact check URLs so they're not fabricated, but sure enough, that's the same URL I have at the top here. When you're ready, it gives me more directions. Again, if I never knew how to use Padlet previously, this is a great opportunity. If I did know how to use Padlet and I'm short on time, let's say this is right before the start of my school day and my students are walking in the door and getting set up for class. And I'm like, oh no, I forgot to set up the Padlet. I'm going to do this and walk away and know that when I come back, I can post this link to my Google Classroom, to my Canvas, to my team, wherever I'm putting it for students to use it. And then it says, would you like anything else? So what if I ask it to customize the background to match the topic? Now, notice I'm not telling it exactly what to do. I'm not telling it a prompt. I'm not saying design a background that has books, that reflects reading, right? It's making those decisions based on the context and its model. So it's showing me the plan. Yep, okay, I'm going to approve that plan. It looks exactly right. And Claude is going to go in and follow its plan. It's going to go into the settings. It's finding how to change the wallpaper. All things that if I didn't know how to do, I'd be so helpful. And I didn't have to do all by myself. It's looking through the wallpapers. Now, as this is working, I want to tell you my story. So when I first tried this a few days ago, preparing for this event, I already had 3 Padlets. And I'm on the free version of Padlet. And so Claude stopped and said, hey, guess what? You're out of free Padlets. And in the chat, it actually started troubleshooting, ready for this, how to get me out of the free plan and how to negotiate that. So it started reasoning. I watched it. It was like, can't get out of the free plan without permission. Could I archive one of the existing Padlets? I need permission for that. It was like thinking through and troubleshooting how to actually do that. Now, that's pretty phenomenal. And when you think about, just setting these agents free to do their own work, we really need to trust that they're not like making purchases without our permission. And sure enough, Claude stopped, didn't do anything past the point of requiring permission, and then waited for me to decide what to do next. Ultimately, I decided to delete one of my Padlets and make room for another one. So I've seen it do this twice. I love this background. I think it looks great. One thing that you can do here, if it's like going awry, someone just asked me this on another session yesterday. They're like, how do I stop it if I think it's like out of control a little bit? There is a stop button always in your Cowork tools. So if at any point you're thinking, oh no, please stop, you can just go ahead and hit the stop button and it will end all activity right there. You have full human control. In this case, that saved me time. I was talking to you that whole time, and Claude, working in the background, went and found an appropriate background and applied it to the Padlet. So I think that's pretty powerful, and I was excited to share that with you. So again, this is Claude Cowork in the browser. That's what we're looking at specifically. Another example that I have for you is straight out of Canva. So Canva's AI 2.0 is different than Canva's 1.0 AI by a whole bunch. And one of the major differences is its ability to create layered designs. It's co-working for you. So with image generation, you're generating a flat image, right? You're generating something that you can't edit. Every time you want to change, you have to re-render it. Sometimes it makes changes you didn't want. It's a giant hassle. In the new Canva 2.0 environment, when you ask for something, whether like this example, it's creating actually a student activity for 4th grade in geography at an applied thinking level, or if I'm asking for a design, it's going to do that in a layered co-work design way, meaning I can make all the changes I want to make because it's as if a human created it, layer by layer, text box by text box. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm in Canva now, I realize, but I'm actually going to go over to my teacher Canva account, which is different than the one I was just in. And I'm going to choose Canva AI right here. And then this is where I can choose what I'm going to actually do. I can create a student activity, for example. If I'm creating a student activity, then I get to choose a grade level and a subject. Let's do science. And a purpose for learning. So let's say I want them to create. Okay. And then what activity I'm going to create? I'm going to give students directions and creative opportunities to explore the life cycle of salmon. Make sure it's interactive and applicable to NGSS standards. Okay, so those are our next-gen science standards that we use here in the United States. So Canva AI, running Claude's model in the background, is giving me some examples. So explore and illustrate the salmon life cycle. What do I want to do? Do I want to do a salmon life cycle mood board? Do I want to design a solution for a salmon habitat? Do I want to create a salmon life cycle poster? Are these opportunities for students to showcase their skills? I'm loving the idea of a mood board for salmon. Let's think about that. So I'm going to select that option and choose generate. If none of those worked for me, then I could definitely ask for something different, just iterate that prompt. You'll notice here now it's generating, and it's not just generating a static, like an image or a poster or a flyer. That's like what ChatGPT or Gemini would do. It's generating a full design. And I can't wait to show you what it ends up doing, because I then, as the expert in the room, get to go in and modify that. All right. It gives me a little alert. Hey, this is ready. Let's go ahead and open and take a look. So this is a whiteboard, right? A mood board, whiteboard. And you can see I'm going to just zoom in here a little bit. Okay. It's created a whiteboard completely from scratch. And this is not static. It is completely editable. Every single element, look at this. Every element here is something that I could then edit, change, create, modify, move based on what my students need and the things that I want to achieve. And that to me is incredibly exciting. Now, when I've done this on mobile, for example, it is so fun to watch Canva AI literally create from scratch. It's making a design in front of your eyes, like a coworker would do. It is super cool. Now, the last thing I promised to show during this lightning round 30-minute webinar about coworkers is inside the Office apps, inside your actual normal everyday applications. So I'm going to go ahead and grab PowerPoint. Let's see. Oops. Okay. We don't, I had one ready for this presentation. Let me grab it. Here we go. All right. This one is called Welcome to Fractions. I asked Claude inside PowerPoint to create an activity for me about fractions for students to learn a little bit about fractions. So this is completely 100% created by Claude. You'll notice it's not perfect. Okay, there's things I'd want to change, but each one of these items is its own element. This isn't a flat presentation. And that's one of the complaints I hear a lot about tools like Gamma, for example, which I love to use Gamma for presentations, but the content is often flat, which means I can't go in and edit. In this case, all of this content is built by PowerPoint. It's built by shapes and icons. It's built so that I can go in and change whatever I need to because it is created with the Copilot functionality built in. So this is something where I could then go in and ask Claude, or I can ask Copilot. Both will co-work with me inside PowerPoint, right? I can ask it to create a one question quiz on the final slide. Okay, and then Copilot will go do that while I go work on something else. I'm helping a student, I'm taking attendance. Maybe I finally remember to take attendance today. Maybe I'm answering an email from a parent. Maybe I'm just taking a bio break. And instead, Copilot or Claude are working on this on my behalf. You'll notice that it's thinking through that process. This is me using Copilot. You could also use Claude. Both of them will appear in this side panel if they've been enabled. I might have to answer some questions. So I'm going to say I want it to be a true or false question. And I'm giving it some feedback, some human feedback based on it not wanting to proceed in the wrong direction, which I think is very cool. So this is what this looks like in PowerPoint. In Excel, it's a very similar situation. I'm going to go ahead and queue up our Excel so that it's ready to show you something. I know we're all excited to see what PowerPoint does, but I'm going to get this running as well. So, for example, I've got all this fake, not real, not sharing personal information data. Honestly, this was all fake, created by AI, participant data. And I can go ahead and use Copilot or Claude to do things with this data for me. So for example, I could ask Claude Cowork to highlight all engagement scores that are 4 and up. And it will edit, it will work in my content to perform the action I've asked for. It's not going to give me a formula I have to copy and paste in and do it myself. It's actually going to do the thing for me. And there you see it, right? It's like, okay, I'll go in and highlight all the scores that are that far and up. Done, right? I can ask it to filter or sort or create a summary page. Create a summary of the data in a new sheet. I forgot the word new. Here, let's see. And it's going to work on doing that. It's going to go ahead and create a summary of everything you see here in a new sheet. It will add a sheet to this worksheet. It will create that content as we go along. And it's asking me like, hey, what kind of data would you like me to summarize? Let's summarize 2 and 4. Okay, so it's going to go off and work on that. While it's working, let's check on our PowerPoint. Because this is how I operate now. I have all sorts of co-work tools running, doing things for me. You'll notice here that it's designing the slide 5, turning this into a multiple choice question. It's adjusting the layout. It will do that on your behalf. It will go in and tweak things, resize. I've watched both PowerPoint and Canva resize, change fonts, and make sure the content fits on the page, which is phenomenal to observe, by the way. All right, while it's doing that, let's head back to Excel. Are you feeling like your head is spinning? This is how I work some days. Multiple tools running all at once. So it's created a summary. It counted for me, it gave averages, min maxes, it's formatted kind of nice, and that's dropped into my worksheet, something I didn't have to do. Now, I want you to please note, these are not, it didn't like go count and then paste in a number. It's creating formulas. It's creating actual formulas that are tied to the information. So this is a living sheet. I don't have to worry about later something breaks. This is as if a human went in and created this recap based on using Excel properly. And good news, I didn't have to know how to run an average if formula to make this work. So here we go. It turned everything into a true false question, just like I asked for. Repurposed this entire slide to a little true false quiz, matched the format, matched the color, matched the font, and the formatting, and it's ready to go for my students. So this is just a few very simple, straightforward ways we see it being possible for you to use Cowork on a daily basis. So thanks so much for joining today. If you haven't connected with us on any of our platforms, make sure to do that. We'd love to make sure you get access to this and all of our other free resources. And if you're interested, invite us to do some training or some sessions for your school and your community. So thanks everyone for joining. It's exciting to hear about the work that's going on all over the world, and have a great day.